Mary and Ronan Curris look like happy-go-lucky kids. They like to play video games, eat flaming hot Cheetos, and spend time on their cell phones.
Couldn't be happier.
But their mom, Melissa, says looks can be deceiving.
To get them looking this way has been this background of doctors and educational professionals and 3 parents, and it's taken a lot of work to get to this point.
Mary is 7 and Ronan is 5.
I'm gonna just watch a video.
They both have autism. They were diagnosed early on and have benefited from intense behavioral therapy. Curris says managing the kids requires a constant team effort from her husband, and her mom, who lives with the family.
Ronan.
What?
Curris says her children are socially and developmentally delayed. The bad days are rough.
2-hour-long tantrums, but it's beyond tantrum. It's like they're hysterical, something didn't go the way that they thought it should go, they get kind of fixated.
Because autism covers a wide range of impairments and disabilities, how it changes as kids age into adults isn't well understood. Autism is a brain disorder, and there's a growing amount of data that indicates there are some abnormalities in the brains of children and young adults who have it. But beyond that,
after the age of maybe 40 years or so, we don't know anything about what happens in people with autism, what happens in their brains, and how their thinking abilities might change.
Ralph Axel Mueller is a psychologist at San Diego State. He's been awarded a $3.5 million grant from the National Institutes of Health to study autism in adults. Over the next 5 years, Mueller's team will recruit 70 people with autism between the ages of 45 and 65. They'll recruit an equal number of people who don't have the disorder. Each participant will undergo a series of tests of their cognitive, language, and social skills. Researchers will take MRI scans of their brains, too. Participants will go through the same regimen 2.5 years later. Researchers will compare the results to see if there have been any changes. Mueller says that MRI scans reveal in extremely fine detail the nerve fibers that connect different parts of the brain.
And we can look at the volume of these fiber tracts and can then study across age whether the fiber tract shrinks. And that's something that would be expected in an aging brain to some extent, but you don't want this to happen too fast.
The images might also indicate whether these vital connections of the brain work differently in people with autism. SDSU neuroscientist Ruth Carper is one of the study's other investigators. She says they hope to establish a baseline of what happens in the brains of people with autism ages 45 to 65.
We'd like to have a good understanding of what are their abilities over that time period, cognitively speaking, whether or not there are differences in the structure of the brain that might explain that and correlate with that, and we'd like to have a baseline of what functional connections are there and how well they operate.
An estimated 500,000 children with autism will become adults over the next decade.
What do you want to eat?
Nuggets.
Nuggets?
It's hard for Melissa Curris to think that far ahead. She's busy getting her kids all of the help they need right now. Curris hopes it will hold them in good stead when they grow up.
You don't really know what's going to happen until they become an adult. They shouldn't regress necessarily anymore, but there's always a chance that they're not going to progress past a certain point.
Researchers say there's no indication that people with autism have a shorter lifespan. The new San Diego State study hopes to answer whether some of them are at risk for greater neurological decline as they get older.
We both got 0.
Kenny Goldberg, KPBS News.